Ever heard of a killer? I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
Somebody said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh, shit. Oh, all right, bet. Here we go.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
In a corporate-wide phone call,
One, two, three, four.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope you all are having a wonderful Wednesday. This January the 28th. Can you believe it? We're in the year 2026. We made it, y'all. We made it. We made it. Okay. We're going to jump right into it. All right. We're going to jump right into this. I'm trying to decide which thing do I start with first. I think I'm going to start with Candace Owens and the Erika Kirk situation first. Then we're going to go into talking about something that has been trending on social media, something that's dubbed the Somali Immortals. It's almost something that deserves its own live stream, but we're gonna triple down today, okay? And we're gonna talk about the Somali Immortals. What does that mean? Well, listen, there's a lot of Minneapolis, Minnesota police officers that will tell you they don't even ever remember or recall responding to a cardiac arrest, aneurysm, or stroke even of an older Somali person. Looking at actuarial tables, you would expect that some people are dying of natural causes. Minneapolis has a huge Somali population. You would think, there would be a 1-to-1 ratio of people dying of natural causes, emergency services being called. But authorities are saying, I haven't received a call to go on the scene of any Somali DOA case, death on arrival, of someone having some sort of health situation and having even some natural death. And some suspect that there's something behind that, meaning citizens aren't reporting the deaths of elderly Somalians because they're essentially still receiving government subsidies. Where are the bodies going, you ask? Well, some say the bodies are ending up in meat markets. Potentially being sold Yeah, it's like that. Do you remember the pig farmer in Canada? You know the guy. There was a serial killer in Canada. He'd been killing for almost 20 years. They finally found him. They didn't find all the bodies. He's suspected of killing over 50, 60 Canadian women. He admitted that he ground the bodies and sold it. Went to meat markets and people were eating human meat and didn't even know it. You know, some say that human meat tastes like pork when it's cooked. I don't know. I've never ate it. But, we will get to that again, the Somali Immortals. But first, okay, can we talk about Candace Owens and Erika Kirk? All right, what's going on here? Well, if you've been following Candace Owens, it's kind of hard not to because her name, her name gets thrown out there all the time. Erika Kirk, which is the widow of Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated. You remember a few months back. He was the CEO of Turning Point USA, this, organization. He was very political and he had a lot of what in my opinion, was just a lot of garbage that came, out of his mouth when he was alive. And the words that he spewed, eventually got him assassinated, right? But I don't blame him for his own assassination, but in a sense, again, we do reap what we sow in this life. Tyler Robinson will be going to trial for the murder of Charlie Kirk. He shot him with a sniper's rifle upon a building, in his little sniper's nest. He shot and killed Charlie Kirk in front of, thousands of people there on campus, as well as the millions that watched his assassination play out on live stream. Okay. Hey, Dolly, good to see you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Now, Erika Kirk, the widow, drew a lot of criticism after Charlie Kirk's death. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. There's nothing about Charlie Kirk I liked at all. I didn't like none of that crap that he spewed. He purposely went from college to college to college, so-called debating. To me, just spewing a lot of just hateful rhetoric, in my opinion. And, Gino, long time no see. Spewing a lot of really hateful rhetoric. And he was really close with Donald Trump as well. Okay. And so anyway, he's assassinated, as you all know, and we pick up from there. Erika Kirk, his wife, pretty much, she wasn't as known at that time while he was alive, but after he died, 2 days after he died, she decides to do a live stream. Okay. And she's going to live stream to the Turning Point, endpoints, platforms or whatnot on social media. She's going to do it live. I guess she didn't feel the need to actually do a recording and then maybe premiere that recording. No, she did a whole live stream. And Fox News aired it. Okay. They aired the whole thing. And it was weird. Again, everybody grieves differently. I understand that. And Candace Owens started this little series called Everyone Grieves Differently. All right. In which she's now leaking audio from conversations that Erika's having with her staff over at Turning Point that we're going to hear in a moment. Okay. But it wasn't just the live stream that she did. His memorial was this, star-studded bash with, JD Vance and Donald Trump and all these people with fireworks and, these Turning Point USA organization members that work 24 hours a day to put this memorial for Charlie Kirk together, was broadcasted and live on every social media platform, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, all over the place. Okay, that drew some criticism. And the number one thing that, drew criticism was this very cringe photo that you're seeing. It actually was a video that she posted on her social media of her standing by her husband's casket, grieving him the day or I believe it wasn't later on that day or the next following day after he was killed. His body had been embalmed. He was sitting in a casket. His skin was very yellowed, but again, what do you expect? When someone passes away and there's no more life or spirit in the body, the body just looks different. You can tell when someone's soul/spirit leaves the body, right? But someone literally recorded her, and I suspect it was actually JD Vance or his wife that did the recording of her. And she felt the need to post that recording online. And it was one of the most cringeworthy moments, okay, that I can ever remember. Honestly, it was so cringe. I mean, look, the picture's cringe, right? Fast forward to today. We've got Candace Owens, who is a former ally with Charlie Kirk, and his wife and TPUSA, Turning Point USA, who's now turned into their the opposition, the enemy, so to speak. Candace, somebody get Candace's laptop. Somebody take her damn laptop right now. But anyway, she went from to, she went from ally to straight up op after Charlie died. And it started, with a few live streams that Candace was doing. She was, talking about Charlie's murder. She wanted to, get down to the bottom of why Charlie was murdered, et cetera, et cetera. And, Candace tends to, when she latches down on something, Candace goes 1,000,000% on that. Okay. If you get what I'm saying, like she goes from 0 to 10, like when she latches down on something that she feels the need to talk or discuss or expose or whatever the case may be, Candace is going to go 100 on that. All right. She's going to put 100 on 10. Period. That's just how Candace operates. If you want some evidence of how Candace operates, I mean, look at the whole Emmanuel Macron situation, the French president and his wife. Candace Owens is the sole reason why there's still so much conversation happening about Emmanuel Macron, the president of France's, his wife being born a man. Okay. And that Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, is actually married to a man that dresses and portrays to be a woman, but was not physically born a woman. And it's gotten so bad that they have sued Candace Owens. Okay. Candace Owens is currently dealing with some legal matters in regards to that entire thing. And when I tell you, Candace, latches down like a pit bull, like the jaws of a pit bull, like the jaws of life. And, she doesn't let go. That's Candace Owens' character. And so she's gotten under the skin of Emmanuel Macron and many people over there in France. She's had a couple different scandals, that one being I think one of the biggest, but now this may even eclipse that. because former ally, now turned foe, is now dropping audio on Erika and just doing all kinds of exposing left and right. Now, Erika Kirk has been asked about, Candace Owens and the live streams that Candace was doing, trying, she wanted to, she let me put it to you like this. She does not believe that Tyler Robinson is the sole reason why Charlie Kirk is dead today. Candace Owens has a whole lot of other conspiracies, okay, that she talks about on her channel. And this seemed to bother Erika Kirk. And she was asked about this on a TV interview. And her response to Candace was to tell Candace to please stop. Okay? Please stop. That's it. Please stop. But that only, if you know Candace Owens, all right, that don't mean anything to her. Okay? It just don't. It just don't. If anything, that's going to, Candace is one of those people, like, if you're into it with her, just don't say anything. Just don't say shit. Let her be, leave her alone. She's just going to go harder and harder and harder. All right. Has Erika Kirk did everything she could to get Candace to stop? Candace straight up said, Erika Kirk tells me to stop? Please. In the name of who? Who do you think you are? She literally spit in the face of that. Okay. If you wonder what I'm referring to, give me a second, because I do want you to see this clip, because again, Candace was doing several live streams. She does a daily live stream where she was talking about Charlie Kirk and the conspiracies around her, these conspiracies around Charlie Kirk and his death. And Erika seems like she just wants to move on from it all. She just wants to leave that chapter behind and move on. And she wants to just, bury herself into her work at Turning Point. And she just, doesn't want to deal with all that anymore. But this is what Erika's told Candace.
The podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
No one, and I mean absolutely no one, outside of my husband and Erika Kirk has the power to shut me up right now. That's
girl, listen. Erika, do you understand what you're dealing with here? Okay. Seriously though. I'm so serious. Candace is on one. Okay. And she is bit down on this Charlie Kirk situation, story, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, I remember one of the very first live streams after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I mean, Candace was up there crying, literally crying about it and all kinds of stuff, it was really, really crazy. But there has been some audio leaks. Candace, a couple days ago, dropped some leaked audio. Now, the title of her series, again, is Everyone Grieves Differently. And the question is here, again, you heard what I said at the beginning. This star-studded memorial eclipsed with fireworks TikToks and, these cringeworthy videos of Charlie in his casket down to, her hugging all up on Donald Trump. Some people even said, hey, Erika Kirk's going to be married within a year. Somebody's going to put a baby in her, So it's so crazy to say, but it's, that's what some people are saying, right? It's like Erika Kirk's grieving process is so different from a lot of other people's grieving processes. Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not common to, for a widow to be posting videos of her dead husband in his coffin and, these star-studded bashes, the memorial services and these live streams. I thought the live stream was crazy to me. 2 days after he died, and Fox News was airing this and, wow. Okay. Now, Candace, again, that happened, right? Erika's like, please stop, blah, blah, blah. And Candace is just going to go harder. So now we've got audio leaking from Turning Point that seems to really put into question her grieving process behind her husband. So apparently, it appears to me that Erika Kirk, and is her way of grieving is to pour herself into her work. Okay, because she's telling her employees at Turning Point that, listen, there's no bereavement time here. If you want to take some time off for Charlie's passing, my husband, dying, then you're going to have to take PTO that you earn. It's really weird. It's so weird. Okay. But listen to this.
Charlie has not been dead for 2 weeks. That's where you have to go back to. Not even 2 weeks after Charlie was publicly assassinated. The obvious point of this call to set this up is to introduce Erika. She's the new leader. Not even introducing, she's just heading up this call, but obviously she's going to be at the helm of this. So they're getting to know her. So let's take a listen.
Hi, everybody. I still love all these emoji Zoom things. Wow. I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, it's just insane. We had over 275,000 people that attended, and the stadium, overflow, Westgate, insane, you guys. And then you have, was it 100 million? We had thousands that were registered to vote. I think we're at over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps bumping up like crazy. But I just wanted to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to the events team, the development team, the graphic design team, the production team. It's just phenomenal. Their incredible work leading into the memorial. And honestly, a lot of the staff that worked on the memorial, they had 20-hour days for a week during the time of us grieving the loss of my husband. And honestly, I know several staff that didn't even sleep. Again, you guys are breathing angels. I don't care if any of you have beef with each other from the past or have any issues with someone said something about this or that. If you guys have any of that, please put it to rest. My husband's dead. I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead. And it puts life into perspective of how short life is and relationships.
It is the general tone that is off-putting. It's the laughter that is off-putting. It's, again, we are not even 2 weeks after watching your husband be assassinated. We're talking about numbers and metrics that have been hit. And my husband's dead, not to be morbid. That is a sentence that and this was not my husband, and I had no sort of the type of relationship that she had with him, that I was able to utter. Least of all, that's moving pretty quickly to the acceptance phase. Now, we know everybody grieves differently. In my imagination, I just thought she would be more upset.
Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, everyone does grieve differently, right?
The employees are working 20-hour days, but also their founder, Charlie, was publicly assassinated less than 2 weeks ago. You got to address that, and you're going to hear her address that.
If you do need additional time off, please talk to your director about using paid time off for that. And again, it's not easy, but again, grief is hard. Otherwise, honestly, Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead, you guys. Charlie would want us to get back to work, and that's what we're doing. And that's what we did with the memorial. And I'm so honored and proud of each and every one of you, because that's what we're going to do in his honor and in his name. We have so much to do, which is exciting. Charlie in heaven is like, you guys thought you had a busy schedule, then just you wait. We have 300,000 new donors. That is a blessing in itself. Again, not normal, all God. I think we have 50,000 plus hat orders to fulfill. It's weird to say I'm excited. I really hesitate saying that. It's really hard for me to say that. It's a really weird thing to say, but I think it comes from a space of peace, knowing that God's using this and we're humbly witnessing the gospel in real time.
I don't know what to say. She doesn't want to say she's happy. I don't want to say I'm happy, but where it comes from, I'm going to explain the happiness that I feel. It comes from peace, because we're witnessing the gospel in real time. All of this makes my skin crawl. It genuinely makes my skin crawl. So basically what the employees said to me was that they got onto this call and everyone's exhausted, everyone's been working, they pull off this massive memorial. And then there's kind of this approach where it's like, well, if you guys need paid time off, like Charlie's in heaven dancing, wanting you to work harder. He's just up there like, you better work, but you can use the paid time off that you have earned, by the way, if you need to grieve more. But imagine you're the employee and you're like, okay, well, this is his wife saying this. So am I weird? I would be pretty weird if I needed to take time off and his wife is saying she's full steam ahead. That's the mentality that they had. Like, how are we supposed, like, are we weird for wanting to grieve? Is that not the vibe? How can we take paid time off when Erika's wife is saying full steam ahead?
Listen, I agree with this, honestly, and I don't agree with much of everything that Candace Owens does or said. I don't agree with everything that Candace Owens says or does here, but Candace is hitting on something that has struck a lot of people. Hey, global media, thank you. That has struck a lot of people. It is so weird that it's like Erika hasn't taken time to like really mourn. We know she was married to him, right? We know she was like his legitimate spouse and everything. So we're all sitting here like, has she even mourned him? Is this something that's going to catch up to her? Something that's going to catch up to her, a year from now? And what is her mental health like? Maybe she's one of those people, that just in the face of crisis like this, she just pours herself into her work. There are people that do that. Again, this series that Candace has, and you're right, Dolly, about that. The series that Candace has pinned is called Everyone Grieves Differently. So again, this is the only reason why this type of, commentary / potential criticism is coming Erika Kirk's way, because simply She's very public with it. And when you're public with these sorts of things, expect there to be some sort of commentary around that. That is to absolutely be expected, right? Then, about an hour ago, Candace Owens dropped another bombshell. She dropped some more audio. So basically, at this point, we know Turning Point USA, employees working at Turning Point USA are absolutely recording these Zoom calls and sending them out to the wild. To, Candace Owens got her hands on it, right? Again, Candace Owens also used to work at Turning Point. Now, some question that comes up in my head, and I think others, is what does Donald Trump and JD Vance think about this? Well, to be honest, I know that Donald Trump has reached out to Candace Owens, and Candace Owens told Donald Trump she's not going to stop. She has told Donald Trump this. One thing in regards that, that I want to say is this, Candace, before we, before we even say that, again, another Zoom call dropped. She dropped it just a few hours ago. Let's check out this clip, and then I'm going to say my piece.
This is 5.5 days after her husband was publicly assassinated.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, look at all the thumbs up. Look how cute that is. Sorry, it's just a little bit more informal than probably Charlie would be reacting. How sweet. I didn't know they could do that. I hate Zoom. I never liked Zoom. Sorry, you guys. I just wanted to say first and foremost, my heart obviously is broken for you guys as much as it is for our family. You guys lost not only a boss, but someone that you looked up to, someone that you believed in his mission, that you also that you loved. You loved listening to his show.
If you guys do need anything, please reach out to whoever you know to reach out to. And pray with one another, be there with one another, be soft with one another. Everyone grieves differently. So if someone's acting weird, don't read into that. Weddings and funerals bring out the weirdest side in people. Just anyone who's been married knows that. And so don't read into that. Just love on each other. Deep breaths. Usha, I just want to share this with you all. I asked her when we were on the tarmac. I said, I don't know how to get through this. And she said, when you're on an airplane, and some of you have kids will really relate to this. Others that don't, you've been on a plane with kids, so you can also relate to this. But she said, when you're on an airplane and you're 15 minutes before landing and the kids are going crazy and you have 15 minutes left on the plane and they're throwing their toys and they're screaming and you're thinking to yourself, am I going to make it through these next 15 minutes? And then the plane lands. And Usha said, you're going to make it through those next 15 minutes. And the next 15 minutes. And so I just want to share that with you because it was a very private moment. But it gave me some peace to know that we can just do this 15 minutes at a time. So if that means at work when you're feeling a little bit stop, take those 15 minutes and you'll be okay. We're all going to be okay. I love you guys. And we're going to make sure that we honor my husband so well that this whole world knows what his vision was and will be. And it's just, I feel so blessed and honored. Have a great meeting. Is there anything else to do? It's good. You guys are loved. Love this little film with all the birds. It's so cute. So sweet. God bless you all.
Blessed and honored. That is crazy work as adjectives. I mean,
listen, Candace Owens is gonna be Candace Owens, okay? And it's. I mean, what do you guys think about this? Like, do I think it's a legitimate, fair question to ask here. Do you think Candace is going too far? Is she doing too much? Some may argue that. And then on the other flip of the coin there, is the weird side in Erika coming out during the death of her husband. That was her husband, right? It's obvious. Nobody's questioning that, right? Here's something I do want to express, though, for Candace. Candace, be careful, girl, where you're heading with this. The situation, with Emmanuel Macron and, whether his wife was born male or female is a whole different thing, right? From Charlie Kirk. Let's not sit up here and pretend and act like Charlie Kirk didn't attract racist bigots. He just, he said things, in my opinion, that sounded very racist, bigoted. He just said he spewed a lot of like hateful rhetoric, in my opinion, when he was alive. And there's like this attraction. There's a certain subset of people that is attracted to that. And so, I have some real legitimate concern about Candace Owens' safety. When she, when she was going in hard on Emmanuel Macron and, some of the other stories that she talked about, I've never felt that. But when it comes to this, I do feel that. I feel that you need to be just, extra careful. I know you're not going to stop being you. I know you're not going to stop doing what you do, right? It's, just be mindful and be mindful of the potential enemies that you're making whilst doing this. If it came down to it and Donald Trump was standing in front of you and Erika Kirk, and he had to, and he was forced to choose between you and Erika Kirk, who do you think he will choose? Right? Erika Kirk. Number one, your skin color is already against you. I mean, you may not feel that way. Again, your skin color is already against you, even though you have somehow managed to merge yourself into that whole Republican lifestyle and, buddying up with the likes of Donald Trump and all of that, and she's received her fair amount of scorn from all of that, right? But at the, what they say, right? You're a Black woman and you've leaned in, into these white people's world, so to speak, right? And we all know that they will chew you up and spit you out when they don't want to deal with you anymore, Candace. Just know that reality is for real. It is so for real. At the end of the day, just based on the color of your skin. Again, I don't think that's something that's going to deter Candace now. I really don't. I think if anything, that's only going to embolden her, right? But I do have some concerns on her safety and her potentially making enemies of some of these people in high places. Because listen, this whole Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk and people that are in Charlie Kirk's orbit, man, he had some really serious connections to some people, that I wouldn't necessarily be friends with, but he had some real crazy connections. And there's no way that Candace would be privy to them all. You know what I'm saying? So just be aware of the potential enemies that you're making in this, right? Because people are going to look at this, her dropping this audio and this video leak or whatnot, these Zoom calls, and some people are going to be like, yeah, expose her. And there's going to be, of course, your other people that are going to be like, oh, why is Candace doing that? Don't do that. It's not cool. Right. So, listen, this is something I'll definitely continue to watch, with Candace. Again, she's been at this for a minute now. And I don't know what she'll do next, but I in no doubt think that I don't think in any world that I currently exist in, parallel reality, whatever, that Candace is gonna do anything different than what Candace does. And this is her latching on like that pit bull, like the jaws of life, and putting 100 on 10. And I think the more that Erika acknowledges it, etc., she's just going to stir Candace's spirit, and Candace is just going to keep going and going and going and going. Okay. The only thing with Candace, she has to be distracted by something else. Somebody take her laptop. Okay. Close the lid. Jesus. Crazy, right? Once a friend turned foe. Candace is now the Kirk's ops at this point. Persona non grata. All right. So I think that is something quite interesting that we all need to keep our eyes on. And Candace, just watch your six, girl. Is the last thing, we don't want to see. We don't want to see anything crazy happen to you. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we're here for. We may not like, Candace's politics and all that kind of stuff. But we don't want to see her murdered. Just like I didn't like Charlie Kirk, his rhetoric. But God, man, ain't nothing cool about watching dude get shot in the neck. Nobody's definitely not calling for dude to die. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Now, let's move on into the Somali Immortals. All right. This is so crazy. All right. But I want you all to think about what is being said here. And man, listen, shout out to the Sean Ryan show. I absolutely watch every episode that he drops. I love his show. He's one of my favorite podcasters. He does some great work on some really good topics, former military. And I love what he does for the military, as well as just, I like the topics he covers, and he's not afraid to talk about, conspiracies or aliens, or, talk to some, Joe, what's his name? Joe, the remote viewer. He's not scared to talk, someone, that talks about exorcisms and demon possession in a real legitimate manner on his podcast. So, enough fanfare there. Where is the body's going? Okay. What do we mean when we say the Immortals are the Somali Immortals? Okay. Listen to this clip, folks.
The Immortal Somali. She's like, I was talking with Minneapolis police officers, and none of them ever remember responding to a cardiac arrest, aneurysm, stroke of a older Somali person. What are they doing with the bodies?
What the hell is that? Is that a body?
So he comes out and he sets something on the ground.
Yeah.
That's his arm.
What?
Yeah, his arm.
What do you mean that's his arm? The Immortals.
The immortal Somali. Yeah. This is something I kind of thought about, but never really dwelled on it because I didn't know how you would design a journalistic investigation to like figure out if there's a story there. But I was talking with Liz Collins from Alpha News, who is, she's like fantastic. I mean, this is the moment for Alpha News. They're based in Minneapolis. They do state level news, and they're actually willing to report the truth and challenge the regime out there. And she just says something to me. She's like, have you ever looked at cardiac arrests involving Somalis? It's like, I kind of grokked what she was getting to. And I was like, you mean like, are Somalis dying of natural causes and being reported? And she was like, yeah. She's like, I was talking with Minneapolis police officers, and none of them ever remember responding to a cardiac arrest, aneurysm, stroke of a older Somali person. You know, just looking at the actuarial tables, you would think 100,000 people out there, the odds say that some of them are going to have heart attacks, they're going to die, and then the police or the emergency services are going to be called to respond. None of the police officers ever remember going to a Somali DOA. And so I go to some of my sources in the Lewiston Police Department and ask, do you remember ever responding to Somali DOA's cardiac events? Like, they start laughing. Like, you know, we were just talking about this at the station, and no one really remembers responding to Somali DOAs. So what's happening? You know, based on that sample, you know, it's not totally scientific, but we know there's some natural deaths happening from medical events within the Somali community that are not being reported to the state, to the medical authorities, to EMS. Now, why is that? So what happens if grandma's got subsidized senior housing, an EBT card, and Medicaid benefits, and you report that she's passed away? Okay, so those benefits get shut off. Everybody can understand, yeah, you just keep the benefits going. This is how you end up with Social Security, or more so the EBT cards, benefits going to dead people. But what are they doing with the bodies?
That's what I was going to ask.
What are they doing with the bodies?
Well,
I don't know.
Interesting when they find that.
I don't know, man.
Man, we're turning into a third world country. It's so weird.
I want to show you a video. I was asked not to let you publish this, but the source said that I could at least show it to you. This is security camera footage from outside a Somali market.
What the hell is that? Is that a body? Oh, never mind.
The guy, he's sitting down. You see that thing he sets on the ground when he comes out?
Hold on. I had to restart it.
So he comes out and he sets something on the ground.
Yeah.
That's his arm.
What?
Yeah, his arm.
What do you mean that's his arm?
That's, I mean, like, it's his arm, and it became no longer connected to his body, and he's walking out of the back room of the market to go get medical help.
Holy shit.
And this was reported in the news that this had happened. They never really figured out what exactly happened. He claimed that he was chopping up meat at this market and fell into the saw and chopped his own arm off. This is just one of the many mysteries that come with being a police officer in Lewiston, Maine. Guy's still in Lewiston, by the way. He's the one with one arm. That market, by the way, is affiliated with a group that got Lewiston shooting money.
Jeez.
The AK market had AK Health Services. My mind goes to when all these bodies need to be accounted for. My mind goes to the facilities that they have for processing meat. Right? You know, if they've got the bandsaws that can hack somebody's arm off just in an accident like that, I don't know how do you? I mean, as a younger man, I jacked deer before, and so have dealt with the problem of trying to make a large carcass disappear. It's hard. It's not as simple as you might think. But yeah, that's something where a Republican governor could come in and look at the age of people getting Medicaid benefits or EBT card benefits in Lewiston, and just be like, holy shit, we've got a bunch of people who are 110 years old getting EBT card benefits. What's going on here? Can we just call them and see if they're real people? That's all a lot of this would require to stop, is just calling, just like basic checkups, going to the offices. I mean, I've got my notes from, we visited some of these home healthcare businesses that have sprung up over the last 5 years. One building on Bishop Street in Portland has all of these businesses registered there. They're not all home healthcare businesses. There's some transportation businesses, but you've got, AB Home Healthcare.
How many are there approximately?
There's 39 companies. We don't know how many of them are real, how many of them have actually.
39 companies in one building.
Yeah. And we actually have video of it that we'll release in conjunction with this episode. We went in, we knocked on all the doors, and nobody's home. They're one-room office suites. They all have matching signs on the door. They're checking the box of having an office so that they can unlock the Medicaid money.
Yeah.
But no one's there. And if somebody from the government just knocked on the door, they'd figure out pretty quickly, or just like did what we did, just walk around the building. We visited twice in December and then in January to see what was going on. And it's clear what's happening. They just someone figured out, here's this empty office building, go get a suite, you check the box, you unlock the Medicaid money, you look like a legitimate business. But you've got AB Home Healthcare, Bright Star Home Care, Bright Star LLC, Bright Star Residential, Bright Stars USA, Bishop Star Residential, Coastal Care LLC, Fable Home Care, Greater Portland Home Care. That one has billed $2 million. Maine Home Care, Noble Transportation, which is a Medicaid transportation company. Prestige Home Care. That one's billed $2.5 million. Knocked on the door, nobody's there. Southern Maine Home Care. That one is $4.3 million. Supreme Choice Home Care, $1.1 million. Tuzolana Personal Care. 5 Stars is an interesting one. 5 Stars is one we found audit documents for. The guy who runs 5 Stars Personal Care is, his name is Mustafa, and you can see in the emails that they audit his spending, and he gets $1 million from 2022 to 2024. And at the beginning of 2024, they flag him, they audit his transactions. He has a 70% error rate. So 70% of the time, he sends paperwork to Medicaid to get money. Something doesn't stack up. There's not documents to substantiate it. He doesn't pass the straight face test. So they send him a letter, notice of violation. We're going to be auditing you. We need some additional documents. If he had those documents, all he would have to do is send them to the Department of Health and Human Services, and they'd say, okay, you check out. You can continue billing Medicaid. You can see in the emails that he strings along the process where he doesn't respond to the letters at first, and then he says that his responses were getting lost in the mail, and then his family is sick, and then his family is sick again. They all have COVID really, really bad, and this has all delayed him, so he gets extension after extension after extension throughout the audit process, and he's allowed to continue billing hundreds of thousands of dollars while he's under audit, while he's making up these excuses, while he's living in public housing, by the way, and running this business out of public housing as a 25-year-old in Maine. And finally, in February of 2025, they shut off billing to him after this whole process. So he's made $1 million doing this home healthcare business. They shut off the money. He never complains as far as we can see. No one dies. No one loses their healthcare. He just gets to walk away from the business. The business entity folds and he goes on his life, goes and starts a new enterprise. We've even seen instances of the same person corresponding with the state about one of these audits for a firm that gets shut down because they can't substantiate their care, going out and starting a second Medicaid business, running it parallel while they're doing the delay game on the audit process, and they're starting another business that runs. So you can do this scheme get your Medicaid billing shut off, and you're not going to be barred from starting a new Medicaid business. And don't even think about criminal charges or a criminal investigation for any of this. And don't even think about making it public. This all just gets swept under the rug unless someone does a public records request, finds it, pours over these documents that they make it as hard as possible for you to read and interpret and understand. And there's no way you find out about what's happening here without some kind of outside, agent bringing transparency. And it's been a huge process for us to disentangle what's happening. Like, why are these companies, why do we have fraud investigators at the Department of Health and Human Services who are investigating all of this, finding it, teeing it up, and then nothing happens?
No matter where you're watching the Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this at all, anything, please like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, head to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave us a review.
The immortal Somali. She's like, I was talking with Minneapolis.
Míralo bien. Aguántate.
One moment, y'all.
No hace nada si uno no le afloja.
One second, folks. I got some crazy audio.
She's on the ceiling.
Get back. You don't belong here. This house is mine.
She's...
Tony, I'm moving out today.
No, you're not.
Yes.
I swear to fucking God, Anna, you're not.
Tony.
Not on my fucking dead body.
One moment, y'all. I've got audio coming from somewhere.
Tony, the movers come at 12:30. It is what it is.
No.
No.
Okay. One of those auto replays.
I want y'all to pay attention to this feature that was filmed.
Let's just close it out, right? But what are y'all's thoughts on that? Like, what? I mean, interesting, right? So you've got people that, we've got a huge Somali population in Minnesota. I remember they even hired the cast of that movie. The movie with the Maersk, Alabama, the captain that was taken hostage by pirates right off the coast of Somalia. They actually did a whole process to look for talent, Somali talent in Minneapolis to recruit for that movie. So there's a huge population of Somalians in Minnesota, and the question here is there a high number of people not reporting the deaths of Somalians because they want the government continue to receive the government benefits? But even better yet, the better question is, where are the bodies at? Right? Like, are people being chopped and ground up at meat markets and essentially, this meat being given out to the population as a way to, get rid of the corpse? I mean, it is not an easy thing to get rid of a corpse, or especially more than one corpse. Okay. But again, I find it so weird that you can go to the Lewiston Police Department and actually ask, officers, the fire department, EMS, have you responded to any call, regarding an elderly Somalian citizen having any sort of stroke, heart attack, anything? So many natural things happen to people. These people are like, yo, we got this huge population here, and we've never had a call to go out there, even though they're either the most healthiest people in the world that either never die, never have health problems, or there's something else going on here. And if that is the case, there's got to be some underground network that's happening in order to dispose of these bodies. Okay. And so again, people are turning to the meat markets in Minneapolis. Have you bought any meat at a meat market in Minnesota and Minneapolis and you thought it tasted strange? Again, that would not be the first time, someone has put human meat into the chain of food and tried to, play it off like it was pork. Again, you remember the Canadian serial killer. He did the very same thing to women of the night that he would hire, and to dispose of them, he would grind them up and sell their meat. And what's crazy, it's not one person in Canada ever said anything. So there's people that have eaten human remains and they don't even know it. Okay. It's horrifying to think about, Emmanuel. It is wild and horrifying, but it is something that is being noticed. So I'm curious, anybody from Minneapolis, Minnesota, especially if you're part of the Somalian population up there, what are your thoughts on this? Because this is something that people are questioning out here. Real talk. So, yeah. So when we're talking about the Somali Immortals, that is what is going down. That is what we're talking about. And so you may or may not have heard that term on social media recently, but man, money is the roots of all evil. It really is. And I think, let me look something up, really quick. Hold on. Listen, there's a lot of cannibalism that has happened in Africa. All right. We're not going to sit here and act like Canada or Africa, I'm sorry, is not known for cannibalism. Okay. And Somalia is absolutely in Africa. But I've heard of more cannibalism happening in places like Liberia. I have heard of some, people that are albinos tend to be hunted because people feel that their bodies, their bones have some sort of healing properties because of their albinism. But there is cannibalism that also happens in Somalia. It's not a folktale. It's a real deal thing. And even, the albinism, where people think that, if you catch an albino, cut him up and eat him, that you could heal yourself. There's healing properties in that substance that you consume. And yes, that is happening in Somalia. So is that a practice that some have brought over from Somalia to the United States? I don't know. I know with Muslims, you have to be buried within 24 hours. The body has to be there's like a whole process that goes on. There's this guy that I follow on TikTok who is he works for a funeral home, and a Muslim funeral home. And so he did a lot of education on, how death is handled in the Muslim community. And I know for sure within 24 hours, the body must be buried, washed, usually buried in a white cloth, a white piece of linen. I'm sorry. So yeah, I don't know the whole I don't have the whole process memorized, but yeah. I think sometimes when money is involved, religious practices absolutely go out the window, So I would be curious on this. So I'm curious what you guys think. Feel free to leave a comment below. Feel free to leave a comment on anything that I've covered in this video today. Listen, if you have a chance, definitely check out my Anchor page, anchor.fm/LeakYou, so that you can link up to my podcast platforms.
Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
All right, guys. Again, I do appreciate each and every one of you for coming through today and listening in on the live stream. Make sure you subscribe so that you get your notifications. And again, check out my official podcast platform. You can Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, all that. My jump off page again, anchor.fm/LeakYou. Until next time.
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart. Like really, really, really smart like I am.